Leadership isn't defined by how well you perform when things are simple. It's defined by how you show up when everything feels uncertain, when it feels layered, when it feels difficult. Leaders who grow, we know they are the ones who most often learn how to navigate complexity and how to turn adversity into advantage. I'm excited about this conversation today. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back to Transformation Station, the leadership podcast that speaks directly to the reality that many of us leaders are facing. We're talking about complexity, we're talking about constant change, we're talking about unexpected challenges. These experiences, they can either overwhelm us or they can refine us. And I'm excited because today we're going to talk about stretching. And if you've ever felt stretched by competing priorities, uncertainties, or pressure to perform, this conversation is for you. Now, before we get started in this conversation, I want to share a few things with you. Number one, I want to tell you about some upcoming events that we have. We have our Lead Her Shift Adjustment Conference that's coming up on April 13 to 16. You don't want to miss it. We met in January. We had the first Lead Her Shift Reset Conference. Over 400 of you registered, and we had an amazing professional development time together. This time, we're talking about adjustment. And what we're talking about, the fact is that life is lifing for many of us, right? And when life is lifing and we feel challenged, that is not a sign to quit. It is not a sign to give up. It's a sign that maybe we just need to adjust the crown and keep on moving forward. We have amazing guest speakers that you don't want to miss that will join me. And on day 4, we're going to have a panel discussion. Now it's virtual, but what you want to do is you want to be in the room. And in order to be in the room, you have to register. So I invite you to click on the link that's going to be in the description box here and join us for the Lead Her Shift Adjustment Conference. And don't come by yourself. No, you can't come by yourself. You must invite someone else. So think right now and then go ahead. And when you get the link, share the link with all the other women leaders in your network. I also want to remind you that once a month, we have a leadership seminar. Now, this one was scheduled for March 5th, but we had to cancel it because there were just a lot of things going on. We did reschedule it, and it is now rescheduled for April 9th. So I want you to invite every woman leader that you know to come and join us for our Leadership Mobilizing with Impact Leadership Seminar. We're talking about grow, glow, and go. And we're talking with the amazing Keela Glover. You don't want to miss this, April 9th. All right. And then finally, today we are celebrating. Yes, we are. Now, I know you're asking me, what is it that we're celebrating? Well, I am so pleased to tell you that this right here is our 100th episode. Yes, yes, yes. Because of you and you being such an amazing community, we have reached 100 episodes in under a year. I can't thank you enough for joining us. I can't thank you enough for sharing. I can't thank you enough for participating and engaging. So I want to remind you right now, every Monday and Wednesday, we meet as a community and we have leadership conversations and discussions, 100 episodes. Woo! And we are almost near 5,000 downloads. We're literally a 111. Isn't that funny? 111 episodes away. Not episodes, 111 downloads away from hitting 5,000. So if you have missed even one episode in season 1, season 2, I want to invite you to go back right now and get caught up and share this podcast with every leader that you know so that we truly can continue to be a global community. Well, listen, today I'm leading, I'm talking, I'm discussing, I'm sharing with you. And today we're talking about adversity. We're talking about how to leverage adversity. And this is really an important conversation because we're living in adverse times. And the other part of that is, many times we have this grand idea that once we get the position and we're leading, problems go away. It's the people below us, right? The people beside us, the people around us. No. Leaders, we learn that leaders who thrive are not necessarily those with the easiest path. Sorry to tell you that. But it's those who develop the courage to face difficulty with clarity and intention. With clarity and intention. Those are two important words: clarity, intention. The leaders who thrive are those who develop, that means you got to work, right? Who develop the courage to face difficulty with clarity and intention. We learn to see disruption not only as a problem to solve, but as an opportunity to grow in wisdom, to grow in resilience, to grow in strategic focus. So, one of the questions that I'm often asked is, Adrienne, in today's complex and uncertain environments, what distinguishes leaders who adapt and grow from those who become overwhelmed? Well, let me tell you from experience. I can tell you from experience that what really distinguishes leaders who adapt and grow from those who become overwhelmed is how we interpret pressure and how we learn to respond to it. Yes, respond to it externally, but listen, it's how we learn to respond first internally. Because before you express yourself externally, you have already made a decision internally. And I've learned over the years that leaders who grow in complex environments, we tend to see uncertainty as information rather than as a threat. That's right. Ask yourself right now, when you find yourself in a complex environment, when you find yourself in a difficult season as a leader, the information that is coming to you about the difficulty, do you see that as information? It's informing your situation, or do you see it as a threat? Because when we see it as information, we understand that we don't have to have all the answers immediately. Come on now. We don't have to have all the answers immediately. Instead, we learn to slow down so that we can understand what's really happening. Slow down so that we can clarify our priorities. Slow down so that we can move forward with intention. This is how, as leaders, we are able to stay anchored in purpose and anchored in values. And when we're anchored in purpose and we're anchored in values, this gives us stability even when circumstances feel unstable. And let me tell you, as a leader, circumstances are going to feel unstable quite often. But that's the way it's supposed to be. And I'm finding in my own leadership that the times that I become the most overwhelmed are the times where I'm trying to control everything at one time. I'm going to say that again. The times that I become most overwhelmed are the times that I'm often trying to control everything at once. I'm reacting quickly, carrying too much personally and professionally, and allowing urgency to replace clarity. Is that you? Reacting quickly, not stopping to pause, carrying too much personally and professionally, not giving yourself an opportunity for balance, and allowing urgency to replace clarity, not asking questions, not really seeking to know what's going on, just going off of the superficial. And what I've seen from experience is that when I'm in that mode, it often creates decision fatigue. I'm tired. Emotional exhaustion, not just physical. Emotionally, I can't handle anything. I feel overwhelmed, out of focus, and a loss of perspective. I can't see the big picture. Everything is limited to right here. A best practice that I've learned over the years is to create a regular clarity pause. You can do this. Best practice, leaders. Try creating a weekly or even a daily moment to step back from the urgency and ask these questions. Number one, What truly matters right now? Number 2, what can wait? Number 3, what support or perspective do I need? Sometimes the resolution will not come today. It doesn't mean that we have to stay stuck. It doesn't mean that we have to be pessimistic and down and discouraged and woe is me. It means that if I understand that this is going to take a little bit, then what perspective do I need to keep moving forward? Because leaders, we don't rise because pressure disappears. But as leaders, we rise because our perspective is strengthened. When you and I as leaders, when we build inner clarity, when we build adaptability, when we build opportunities for support, the complexity becomes less of a burden and more of an opportunity to grow in wisdom and influence. Another question that I'm often asked from time to time is this: how can leaders reframe adversity from something to survive into something that sharpens our clarity, capability, and purpose? Reframe. Okay. I have learned that many times adversity feels disruptive. And adversity feels disruptive many times because it challenges our sense of control. That's right, that word control. But leaders who grow through it are the ones who learn to reframe. There's that word again, reframe adversity from a threat to a teacher. Leader, look at your challenges right now, your adversities right now. Is it possible? It really is. But I'm asking you, is it possible for you to reframe the challenge, to reframe the adversity from a threat, danger, to a teacher, information? It's fertility, helping me to move forward. What does that look like? Well, this is what that shift looks like. Instead of asking, how do I just get through this? Strong leaders begin asking, what is this situation trying to teach me? What is this situation trying to develop in me? I like that word, develop. That word develops means there's growth. That word develop means there's opportunity. That word develop means there's more than what I see. There's more than what I feel. There's more than this. And this is important because when adversity is viewed only as something to survive, as leaders, we're going to just focus on endurance. We're going to hold our breath, push a little bit harder. I'm just waiting for normal to return. But when adversity is seen as a sharpening tool, you and I as leaders, we begin to notice how it clarifies our priorities, how it exposes our assumptions, and how it strengthens our decision-making. Pressure forces focus. Uncertainty can strengthen adaptability, and difficulty will reveal purpose. I also want you to consider that adversity, our challenging times, it has another superpower. Adversity has the ability to deepen our empathy. That's right, empathy. Empathy is strength. Because leaders who have walked through challenges, they often become more patient, they often become more intentional, and they often become more aware of the human impact of their decisions. I literally was talking to someone today, and they were upset because their leadership was not acknowledging the human impact of the decision that they were about to make. But when those we lead understand that even though they may not necessarily agree with the decision that we're making, that we have considered the human impact, that will strengthen culture, and that will strengthen the trust within your organization. Another best practice is for us as leaders, create a simple adversity reflection routine. Like this. After a difficult situation, just stop and take some time to write it down. Write down the difficult conversation. Write down the difficult occurrence. Write down the difficult situation. Just write it down. What will this do for you? It's going to help give you clarity as you write it down. There's something about seeing it on paper and reading it that emphasizes to you, yes, that is difficult. Or, oh no, it's not as difficult as I think it is. And ask yourself, what skill or what experience will be required for me to move forward? Or what skill or what strength was required in order for me to move forward? Another question that I've often been asked is this: how do we define anti-fragility, and how can others build it in their lives? Anti-fragility, not fragile, soft. How do we build anti-fragility? Well, it comes from one, understanding who you are. So you've got to take some time in the midst of the leading and the growing and the building and the development and the becoming. You've got to ask some basic questions. Who am I? What is my goal right now? Like what am I working towards? Why am I doing that? That why is so important, because that why informs your how. Fragility. How do you keep yourself resilient? You know, there are some things that other people can help you with. And there are some things that you just have to know for yourself. You have to know what makes you laugh. You have to know what makes you cry. You have to know what your triggers are. You have to know when you are getting close to your limit or you've passed your limit. You have to know what feels like a win. You have to know what feels like a loss. You've got to ask yourself these things. So it's important. When we talk about anti-fragility, it's important that you to thine own self be true. You must first lead you before you can lead others. Yeah. And it's important for us to understand that impact increases with our teams when we as leaders allow adversity to reshape how we lead. Yeah. How can your challenges, the challenges you're facing right now in your leadership, how can the adversity, how can it reshape how you lead? Because adversity has a way of interrupting the leadership patterns that we rely on. Adversity has a way of forcing us to confront what is no longer working. And that disruption can become a powerful turning point. But the question is, will you allow it? Will you allow it to become a turning point? You know, for leaders who are currently facing layered challenges right now, I want to remind you of a best practice that you can do. After navigating a challenging situation, you can conduct a leadership reset review. That's right. This is something that you can do today after watching this or after listening to this particular episode. And as you do the leadership reset review, you're asking yourself 3 important questions. Number 1, what assumptions did this experience challenge? Leadership reset. You want to ask yourself, what leadership behavior of mine needs to change moving forward? That's number 2. And number 3, how can I lead with greater clarity and connection, not tomorrow, but now? How can I lead with greater clarity and connection? That means no man is an island. You're not doing this by yourself. You're going to connect with others, with an entity. You're going to connect with knowledge and growth. You're going to connect. How can I lead with clarity and connection now? You know, when things are going well, many of us as leaders, we operate on momentum. We rely on familiar strategies, established routines, proven approaches. But adversity exposes gaps. It reveals where control was an illusion. It reveals where communication wasn't as clear as we thought it was, or where our pace outgrew our purpose. And in moments like these, as leaders, we are pushed to rethink how we lead. And this episode, I want to push you. I want to push you to rethink how you lead. I gave you several best practices. Go ahead and do an assessment. You do the assessment for yourself first. Then you can take this and use it in a staff meeting, a team meeting, and allow there be group assessment and invite each individual member of your team to assess. But it's time to rethink how we lead. It's time for us to begin to listen more closely. It's time for you and I as leaders to begin to prioritize more intentionally. It's time for you and I as leaders to engage those others on our teams more collaboratively. Adversity, it has this power to shift leadership, to shift us from being directive to being more reflective and relational. Adversity also has the power to strengthen our resilience and our credibilities because our teams are watching. Oh, they're watching. They're watching closely during the difficult seasons, even more so than during the seasons where everything is going well. And I can tell you from experience, when we as leaders respond with steadiness, with transparency, and with a willingness to adapt, to trust, the trust itself inherently will deepen. The team will become more of a community. The team will feel empowered to be more collaborative. And that trust right there, that will then become a multiplier of long-term impact. You know, I had a mentor who told me one time, how do you know that you're really leading? You know you're really leading when you mentor and coach your team, and then you're not there, and the team keeps moving forward. They learn from us. In adversity, it will refine our focus because it strips away all distractions. And it forces you and I as leaders to ask what truly matters, not just for results, but for the people and for the purpose. And over time, this leads to clearer decisions, stronger alignment, and more meaningful leadership. So what will it be? This conversation today, it's reminding us that leadership is not tested in moments of convenience. It's revealed in moments of challenge. And if your leadership is being tested right now, or you just came through a season of where your leadership was tested, I want to invite you to reframe. I want to invite you to assess, what did you learn? What strengthened you? What depleted you? Tell us in the chat right now, what is resonating with you? Share this episode with another leader and ask them the same questions that we mentioned here in this podcast episode today. I don't know about you, but I know for me, I need to go back and watch the replay because I want to approach my leadership with the right mindset. And when we do not see adversity as weakening us, we will then see it as sharpening our vision, deepening our resilience, and strengthening our leadership impact. I want to remind you again about the Lead Her Shift Adjustment Conference that's coming up April 13 to 16. You need to register in order to join us for this exciting professional development conference for women leaders. You can go to mobilizingwithimpact.com to register. You can go to Mobilizing with Impact on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn to register as well. 400 of us joined together last time. I'm inviting you to register now and share it with someone in your community. And if this episode spoke to you, be sure to subscribe to the Transformation Station Leadership Podcast and share this conversation with a leader you know who is navigating change and who is ready to turn adversity into opportunity. So until next time, stay grounded. Until next time, stay thoughtful. And until next time, keep leading forward with clarity and with purpose.